Kanibambe comrades. Kanibambe comrades. Kanibambe comrades. Kanibambe comrades. Kanibambe comrades. Swaren yualo. Namelani. There are too few things that should happen. Anybody who picked up a missing cell phone of somebody, please bring it forward. That is a cell phone of and so forth. Number two, on the extreme left, there is a clinic there. If you feel feverish, little pain, please use it. Ngola uzayikhumbula kasokhohlela. Thirdly, we are going to adjourn the meeting. I will tell you why. When we adjourn, we are all requested to have dinner here because that is where it is prepared, not in the hotels. So you are reminded that why should we adjourn now is because the next session is going to be a closed session. It includes adoption of credentials. Now, if there are few comrades who are still being registered in the registration center, we will be depriving them of the right to be delegates if we continue without them. Okay, comrades, does it deal with credentials? We must all be here. That's why we cannot just continue, even if we think that delegates present in the conference do form a quorum. We're not going to follow that. Every delegate must have the opportunity to be here in the next session. Lastly, the announcement keleyo. Leadership as a KZN delegates as a KZN zisale bafuna ukukhuluma naso. Yeah. Ningashawuta mna ngoba ndi messenger ndithunyiwe. Shawutana apha kum. So what we are going to do now, we are adjourning. We'll come together tomorrow at 9.
That's what I wanted to check. When are we coming back? So
at 9 tomorrow we're here, and it is a closed session.
That's the phone.
Oh, Mamelani, I don't know if this is your phone. I've got the phone. I've got the charger. I've got the key of a car. If it's yours, please come to me. Thank you. Tomorrow at 9 we meet here. The meeting is now adjourned.
And that appears to wrap up the first day of the ANC's 55th National Conference here at Nasrec. Quite a lot coming out from that political report. You're listening to, President Cyril Ramaphosa talk about some of the measures that he said had been put in place to ensure that the country charts a path towards economic recovery, saying that we are starting to see some green shoots. Are we? And these are some of the conversations that we'll have. And you talk talks about the slowing economic growth, the impact thereof, and also speaking about the number of South Africans that are now receiving social grants standing at just over 18 million, and also talking about how key education is going to be in addressing the issues around poverty. He's looking at the response by South Africa as well as the continent when it comes to the COVID-19 pandemic. He also spoke about something that a lot have been decrying over the years, and that is the Auditor General's reports that are always painting a picture of glaring inefficiencies and lack of financial controls at municipal levels. And these, of course, are some of them that are run by the ANC-led government. And he says that even as the national government, they've had to also come into some of those municipalities, looking at the levels of crime and how they continue to become a problem. And he talked about even the July unrest report. And you are seeing, of course, visuals there on your screens right now. And as we are, of course, trying to, really get a sense. And of course, you can see that, this was also tense. I mean, you think about that moment when this particular address started, he was asking for calm, asking for silence so he can be able to address. And we saw the entrance, a very grand entrance of former President Jacob Zuma, which then saw a number of delegates chant into, song, Wenzenu Zuma, which is a song that has been a signature tune in recent years, attached to, former President Jacob Zuma, as his supporters always asking some of these questions. And then we also saw some of the delegates chanting load shedding when the ANC chairperson was speaking. So quite a lot was happening even at the beginning of his address, which also signals his end of this particular address, saying that let us stop shouting at each other, let us stop howling at each other, and even talking about the divisions that continue to be laid bare in the ANC. But I'm not alone. In studio with me is Professor Lesiba Teffo, who is with us in studio to understand what was happening. And Professor Lesiba, one of the things that, one witnesses, and I'm going to take us back to the moment when the national anthem is being sung. They are all on stage, and one sees the demeanor of Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. We could not help but look and see that she was looking some kind of despondent. I'm not sure if you noticed that.
Despondent and forlorn, and understandably so. Because all things being equal, she knows that the opportunity she envisaged 2017 and to date, given what just transpired in the past 5 days or so, it has come to pass. And I'm happy for her, in a sense. There comes a time in the affairs of men that one must look oneself in the eye and admit, I have set my people with distinction, but it's time to step down and allow the young generation to take over. But I'm speaking as a non-politician, by the way.
And Prof, one of the things that was also very clear, I don't know if you picked it up as well, from his tone, the ANC chairperson, Gwede Mantashe, when he started saying to them, even before anyone broke into song, he said something along the lines of, whether you are making noise or not, the president is going to be tabling his political report, kind of signaling that already the mood is tense.
No doubt about that. I mean, we have picked up in the morning, and even yesterday, there was attempts at or the intentions to collapse the conference. And in the briefing in the morning, also Pule Mabe alluded to the fact that the conference is not going to collapse. Who said it was? It's because their intelligence informed them that, by the way, who was going to collapse it? It is the same members of the same organization, not an opposition from Mars or Jupiter. And for that, when you talk renewal, rebirth, and all that, and the tension that I have seen, and the grand entrance, and the competition in song, and the Limpopo Gauteng contingent drowning the other part of the province, yeah, there is still a lot of work that has to be done.
And you and I are watching these visuals of these delegates, and I wonder, do you get a sense that given what has happened so far, Is this a President Cyril Ramaphosa who is in charge? When you look at what happened at the beginning and you're looking at what then happened subsequently as he was addressing even for security to then be called in, and I wonder then going into the next days of this conference, is he in charge of these members?
I think I would say he is in charge to the extent that the Prime Minister is in charge.
Who's the
For now, let's admit, in the absence of Mantashe, the President would be in big trouble. The ANC as an organization would be in trouble. His steady hands in the past 2-3 weeks, I've seen it steadying the organization, and even those who want to compete and contest him, I dare submit. In the past 2 weeks, Ramaphosa's standing has appreciated. Mantashe's standing has appreciated. And indeed today, he asserted his authority. Attempts were made, but he was firm, yet at the same time polite to the extent possible. And ultimately, there was calm, and the president could present. And incidentally, I rarely see Ramaphosa being that confident and eloquent. Today, that was the president speaking, and authoritatively so. It's almost like, I do not care, but I'm in charge and I'm in control.
Are you signaling that you think Mantashe is coming back as ANC chair?
Hey, in his absence, I think they might have bigger problems than they had. Make no mistake, he might have his flaws here and there, but he knows the ANC. And he has been there when it mattered most. And very few would have handled the situation. And by the way, even in the past, he did exactly what he did. When it matters most, he rises to the occasion. He has some standing. He understands the nuances and the dynamics of the organization. And if you look in terms of consistency, he doesn't mind to go against the majority if it matters most and is in the interest of the organization. And
one thing's about Polokwane actually in mind when you talk about him in the past having done that. Now, Prof, I wonder, when you then look at the entrance at that particular moment of former President Jacob Zuma, just tell me what you deduced from that moment.
No, it was choreographed. They did a wonderful job. I think look, the president was just about to start, and suddenly there is this grand entrance, and then there is song this side and there is song that side, and the best person had to win. And I think if we looked at the volume, I think the Limpopo Gauteng constituency, right, or contingent, began to sound more vociferous and more powerful, drowning the other party. Attempts were made, but and I could see with time they were getting tired, and they almost succumbed, admitted that the plot is not working, and the president was allowed to present the report. And towards the end, I think he began to be emboldened than ever before, and I think that will stand him in a good stead going forward.
And you talk about how he became emboldened, and he talks about, let's stop shouting at each other, let's stop howling at each other, and he even goes hard when it comes to the issues of divisions, and he says that the divisions are among us as leaders, and that is also what is weakening us. Is this likely to fall on deaf ears? Because, and I say this in the context of what he said in 2017, this is a man who came in and said, you've given us as the leaders the mandate of unity, the mandate to unify, because you remember he came through with that unity slate. So is this again likely to fall on deaf ears?
Whether it falls on deaf ears or not, the general will never say to the army, let's succumb. Neither will the priest on the pulpit say it is falling on deaf ears. Some would say, indeed, they haven't achieved a lot. But you cannot deny that as far as corruption is concerned, as far as state institutions are concerned, attempts are made at arresting those whose fingers were found to have tampered with the till. And at the same time, he has also sent the fear of the Lord to the potential thieves like you and me. Because we know if you do it, he won't protect you. Whereas yesterday, people did that with impunity.
And talking about the resistance that he says they're going to be met with. Prof, let's hold it for a second and go for a quick ad break. And when we come back, we'll also look at some parts of, what the president had to say, talking about that July expert panel report. And some of what came out of it has been very critical. But listening to the president, one wonders just how much of it is going to be implemented. But let's touch on all of those and other issues after the break.
Just 787 Rand a month to cover 2021 polo? Now that's something to celebrate. She shopped around to get a great deal on her Swift. Just 415 Rand a month. We'll never rest until we give you a great premium on your Everest. He pays just 684 Rand a month. SMS car to 44211 now to switch and save on your car insurance.
Clientele Legal is your partner in justice and peace of mind. Labor-related incident, uncontested divorce, wrongful arrest, car accident. Lawyers are expensive. Clientele Legal is affordable. For a small monthly premium, you are protected against everyday legal issues. We have a 24-hour legal emergency helpline, professional lawyers, professional advice.